think it's going to be like one of those low-budget stand-up comedians. We're going to do our own introduction. So hi, everyone. James Lemon from Stripe, back again. I was asked to step in at the last minute to do a panel on kind of back-office tech that happens behind the scenes that unlocks a lot of the guest experience. I have a feeling they needed to just find another person called James. But I used to run innovation for the commercial and tech functions at IHG and have my own innovation consultancy for 4 years. So it's definitely something I'm super passionate about. So we haven't had a chance to do a load of prep, but hopefully that'll lead to a slightly more natural and inspiring, maybe argumentative 30 minutes together. So I guess we just want to run through the panel. It'd be great if you could just introduce yourselves, your role and where you work, and maybe kind of one thing about hotel tech you wish you'd known 5 years ago. Gavin, why don't you go first? Are we sharing one mic? Are there any more microphones around?
My name is Gavin Allison. I currently head up the technology for a company called Law Group. We have soon to be seven hotels scattered around the globe, luxury lifestyle brand. It's been a difficult company to manage because it's essentially 6 independent hotels, and we have come on board to create Law Group. So 3 years ago, we embarked on creating a brand with 6 independent hotels. So it certainly had its challenges. I can't wait to get stuck into telling you what we're doing with data, because it seems to be a big topic here today. Something I wish I knew 5 years ago was probably how service standards, I'll go even further back. So I know Matthew Prosser was asked earlier, who has been in the industry for 25 years. I coincidentally worked with him at Micros Fidelio years ago, 25 years ago, actually. So I wish I had known that some of the service standards that we had to apply during interactions with various different guests were still relevant today on how we utilize data and how we can use customer data to create an experience. But I'll get into that a little bit later.
Cheers, Gavin. Jawad?
Very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jawad. I'm working for Imperial London family of hotels. We've got 8 hotels around the heart of Bloomsbury, roughly around 6,000. We can accommodate 6,500 guests, around 3,500 rooms. It's a large operation, very different. And I think from the overall known perspective, if I knew what are the best systems 10 years ago, problem solved. So it's a constant journey and constant looking at how we can improve and embrace the technology around data and everything. But it's a constant challenge, and I think it's always going to be a learning around. So not really. I think it's just a ongoing process right now.
Perfect, cheers. And Josh, we heard a bit from you earlier, but maybe you could give us a bit of an intro. And yeah, again, like what do you wish you'd know?
So I'm Josh, head of robotics at SOLSTICE Robotics. So as a core business, we deal with AV technology, and after the pandemic, brought in the robotics as a subdivision. So we already deal with a lot of hotel groups, healthcare, education. And robotics for us is really becoming our bread and butter as well. We're really diversifying the portfolio and offering what we believe is right solutions to enhance the guest experiences from back office all the way to the front of house. I've not been in the hotel industry for many years, as some of you probably realise. My background is in a lot of warehousing, logistics and supply chain. Working with the likes of Swisslog and KUKA and Karcher and a lot of other big name brands within that arena. But from what I've seen through personal experience within hotels and what I now look back at over the past 5 years is how much technological advancement there actually is, from customer check-ins, guest check-ins to automated services for payments. It's something that when you're not part of the industry, I don't think you see that as a public eye. So it's really getting to understand that now on the OTAs and see how this is redeveloping.
If I can add one point, I think in terms of technology, it's been very well seen. There was a time when guests visiting hotel and see advancement of technology, how we utilize in the rooms, but now as at home, the guests, where they have better technology as compared to when it comes to hotels. So I think the tech is changing, and it's become a kind of a norm where hospitality is kind of really catching up with the technology, not really utilizing what's in the market. So it's a slow catch-up journey overall in the hotels.
Yeah, and I guess slightly, maybe controversially, maybe not. It does feel a bit slow, right? And I know each of you have got kind of little deep dives you want to go into. Maybe we could start with a more general thoughts first. I think I noticed that some of these innovations are on slides, but I almost never see them when I'm in hotels. I'm also conscious when talking with hotel execs, they're like, yeah, those are things we'd like to get round to, but they just never seem to make, the top 3 things we have to get done this year, or there's just not quite enough space to put innovation on top of, frankly, just the day job of running some massive hotels in each of your examples. So maybe you could help those leaders in the rooms that are kind of wrestling with that, across robotics and AI and Wi-Fi and all these different things we kind of heard about today. What for you would be the 1 or 2 areas to really focus on in the next 12 months where you think there is like the most value and the most impact on the guest experience, I suppose? Gavin, maybe you could go first again.
Yeah, certainly. So we've embarked on developing an application within our hotel group, and I think that the conversations previously in the other panels have been really relevant. How do we use all the data we're currently capturing in our hotels? We're capturing so much data in our hotels, yet they sit siloed without anybody actually using it effectively. Going back to an age-old saying, hotels' data has always been siloed, and we still have that problem today. I know Matthew spoke about trying to bring it together, but how do we create that golden guest profile that we can then utilize in various different disciplines, whether it be at the front desk or whether it be a marketing team that has the ability to then create an offering or a campaign that is extremely relevant to the guest's reason for staying with us, or the reason that the guest chooses your brand or your hotel. So the application we've embarked on is a CDP application. Some of you might be familiar with it, some not. It was very common in the retail space, and in e-commerce has been doing it for years. Within Law Group, we are bringing in data. We've started small, so we are bringing in data from 3 of our revenue verticals, that being spa, food and beverage, and PMS. And it's going to give us a good foundation to build on. But once you've got that foundation built, the possibilities are endless. How many marketing people are in the audience? Marketing usually leave when I get up on stage, because I'm a big dreamer, and with the right data, really the world is your oyster. So we're starting small. However, I've got a lot of ideas that are going to come in the years to come around various other data types. So let me give you an example. I know there was a conversation on a previous panel as to real-life, tangible information that you can take away. So this was an example I used to actually get this project over the line with the board of directors, as well as ensuring that the teams on property bought into the idea. The guest comes and stays with you, the customer enjoys a cocktail in our award-winning cocktail bar called Lioness, then goes down to the spa, Aqua Spa, enjoys a Thai massage, leaves the property, comes back 3 months later. What happens to that data? Is it going to sit in the spa system and in the point-of-sale system, never to be used again? So we're talking about live interactions. The said guest comes back, he's booked a 3-day stay with us. He hasn't booked anything this time around in the hotel. Why is it not possible for me to attach a very smart marketing application to that guest's golden profile and send him an offering for a Thai massage in the spa, which I already know he likes, and we'll throw in the 2 cocktails that I know he likes on us? It is possible. It's something that we're looking to do at the moment. That's generating extra revenue so that it gets over the line with the board. It's creating a fantastic experience for the guest, as well as providing brand loyalty, because more than likely there's going to be comments left on all of the social media platforms. So we've embarked on it. It's not been a smooth road, let me tell you. It's been very difficult, but mostly down to the age-old problems that we've got in hospitality, and it's all down to connectivity and what you can push back and forth via an API. So my number 1 piece of advice for anybody embarking on this would be to ensure that you really understand what data you can push and pull from your systems on site before you even begin looking at, how to create a golden guest profile.
A little bit like the last speaker, it almost feels like you're also saying, make sure every function kind of wants this and sees the benefits for them, and then potentially a bit of like, just make sure that business case is solid, right? Like, this is about new revenues. This is about bringing back customers. Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what it's about at the end of the day, providing a service that the guest is going to come back for and, create brand loyalty. But we're all in the business for the same reason, profit at the end of the day. So create a new revenue stream. It's not costing you anything more to create those offerings that you would have since lost. My dream further down the line is, in our hotels, in each one of them, we have a co-working area. It's extremely difficult to monetize that co-working area. We've tried various different methods. We've tried QR codes. Everybody's tried QR codes. They don't work. So why not try something different? Why can't I monitor how long you've been connected to my internet and send you an offering at 2 p.m.? You've been there for 4 hours in calls. I know you're thirsty. I know you're hungry. Why not? That's the big dream anyway.
No, I love it. And by show of hands, has anyone ever seen any personalization like that in hospitality before? Like a real world experience? So one. I've stayed in a lot of hotels and no one's ever sent me a personalized message like that. Right?
Just wait.
Just wait. I can't wait. I'm either at the wrong hotels or it just doesn't exist. No, that's fantastic. Jawad, I think I'm really interested in what you wanted to talk about because everyone kind of since November 23 has been talking about Gen AI. But before that, robotic process automation, like RPA, had its 12 months of being in the sun. And actually, this is one area where, particularly around kind of finance and payments, actually, I know that hotels have made huge progress in kind of efficiencies and cost savings. Maybe you could share a little bit about what you're working on and how you're bringing that to life.
Absolutely. I think we're in a kind of area where we get hundreds and hundreds of bookings on a daily basis, and one of the first pinpoint was how we handle to take deposits, because our business model works on taking deposits in advance. We started working with robotics where on the PMS we are performing an automated process of taking all the payments and deposits in advance with the machine, basically a learning machine without any humans involvement. This is one game changer for us. It massively helps our team to free up the time and making sure, rest assured, the payment cards are valid, they are working before the guests arrive, so it's a game changer completely for us. But now, combining that automation with AI, also one of our key vision right now is how we can help our team members to elevate, bring speed, bring efficiency, bring accuracy, where we're looking at solutions right now really in a really advanced stage. For example, we're looking at a contact center solution, which is a big piece for our business right now, where guests calling us, understanding guests, their needs. If we have a centralized database, for example, the guest golden record, understanding and really accurately dealing with the guests in advance before they know. Also on top of it, with AI, helping and understanding their tone of voice, whether they're angry, whether they're happy, whether they're passionate, what are the sentiments, and using those sentiments to guide our team members to well service our guests. That's the whole concept there. It's a great solution. We're working on it right now, which not only helps to service the guest and understands, it's also where, for example, there's a problem where guest is angry, to create those alerts to supervisors where they can log into the system as a whisper and start interacting and guiding team members how to take the call next steps. So there are tons of things I can share with you, but I think AI is playing a key role where data is brilliant and applying some logic there, helping our team members. Imagine team members we were having a discussion earlier about issue hiring team members in the hospitality, which is definitely a problem everywhere. But getting those freshers, team members, giving them a basic training and helping them to be on a job with a system which is guiding them, it's a great success. An example, email. Guest sends the emails to us, and there's a request there. Email automatically being non-reply, being drafted for a team member to review and send. Half of the time can be saved, really. There are tons of things we can do to really improve our services and efficiency.
And so with a kind of capability area like that, how do you get started? Is it about someone on the team saying, I'm going to learn this skill, I'm going to kind of figure it out, get the first examples and share it? Do you bring a consultant in? Like, talk to us about those first steps where you take a business from, oh my God, I literally do not know what those people are talking about, to we're seeing some real benefits.
No, definitely. I think there are great solutions out in the market, but it's all about, first of all, how you build the golden record centrally, collecting the information from different sources. Again, a great example shared earlier where I'm dining, I'm going to the rooms and the profile is not shared, data is not shared. Get the golden record where you have a centralized database. That's the base. And then on top of it, working with the partners, trying to utilize the data, build a solution where you can really make some best use of it to know the guest. It's, again, when I mentioned earlier, we are the late adopters. That's really true. 5 years ago, I'm calling an energy company. They are greeting with my name because they have their mobile number. Hotels, still we don't do that really. We're really late in terms of adopting technologies there.
Yeah, and I think process automation is super interesting. I think obviously you've hit on a pain point that's close to my heart, which is actually, even though you could be just taking payment in the checkout, so many hotels are spending hundreds of hours processing credit cards manually, which is super inefficient. It's probably non-compliant, and your team members are being bored absolutely senseless. So I think that's a really easy place to apply it. The other place I've seen is on supplier payouts as well. So kind of commissions and fees to, OTAs, travel agencies, event organizers. But I want to touch on contact centers again, because I think a lot of hotel chains are really trying to understand the role of the call center now in 2024 onwards. Really, if we're honest, we've just been maxing them out for efficiency. It's been a bit of a declining channel. Do you see its role changing a little bit, maybe with the advent of AI and kind of the combination of expert sellers, and how does it, tell us a little bit more about kind of your vision for the role of the call center.
Definitely, I think very, very positive. It's been taken very positively, where we see a huge change. Along with the hotel, we also run an academy where a little bit about the business. We are very people-driven business. We not only look at and focus on the guest, we also focus very heavily how we can really give a right tools to our teams, which can help them to even perform their job better. Again, speed, efficiency, and accuracy. And we're constantly finding the ways. Yes, guest focus is always going to be there, but with the AI and looking at. And another example with this similar to where utilizing ChatGPT, where a reservation agent or even front desk or any of the team members wanted to run a report we use ChatGPT every day, by running a query, what you need, and system is generating the information for you. That's the vision. Make it easier for them to navigate around, find the information rather than going through hundreds of pieces of systems, drill down and go and get the report you want. The data is just frequently there for you by just typing a sentence, what you want.
Super interesting. So Josh, coming to you, you obviously had a great display of robots earlier, like a robot for every function in the hotel. But again, like getting really practical for the people in the room, they can't do everything. Where for you, robots going to have the biggest impact on the guest experience in the next year or two?
Yeah, so we know they don't have arms yet. There is a lot of development in the Far East, in Germany. But at the moment, you're kind of looking at the key services. So whilst we're looking at enhancing guest experiences through robotics, what we're also trying to achieve is, as Jawad said, is giving the right tools to your staff. So where we have a room service delivery robot that can utilize OpenAI and open the API, allowing you to integrate other systems into it as well for housekeeping, room service, calling. We really focus on that seamless activity of going from the front of house to the room, using various technology for elevator controls, and then giving your staff the correct tools to use it, making it better for them in terms of, we know we talk about reviews. It's going to make or break a hotel, whether you're a startup, whether you're a big group of hotels. Reviews are everything. 47% of people will book based on a review. And I think the more time that your staff have interacting, although we want to use AI and use personalized ads and things like that, at the end of the day, human interaction is still there. People love it. People want to thrive on the empathy of the guest, and it also lets them enjoy their job. So instead of a front of house walking through the hotel to the back end, as it could take them 20, 30 minutes, they're actually then helping a guest at the front of house who's been queuing up for half an hour already, who's had an issue, and you need to sort it. So we're taking away that job of the walk-in and the tireless efforts where it's misplaced work. So on the back of that, we're talking about cleaning robots. Now, automation anxiety is one of the biggest words that's used within innovation and cleaning. And that's because a lot of cleaning teams within hotels, healthcare, in that sort of industry, what they're doing is they're thinking it's going to come and take our jobs. What robots can't do is what we try to get across to everyone. They don't have arms. They can't clean bathrooms to the high standard that you need them to. I'm ex-military, so I know more probably about inspections within rooms. So I'm looking at dust every time I go somewhere. I was having a chat with Eva from Numa earlier on today, and we were just talking about how, you know, no matter where we stay, as hoteliers yourselves, you will inspect that room for cleanliness. And that is what people will look at on a review. And as I said before, we're talking about enhancing guest experience, but also your staff, giving them the correct tools to do the job that they're employed to do, which in turn will create more time for them to actually work with guests and create a better stay for them during their duration.
Yeah, got it. So it sounds like you're really mindful of that right balance between kind of hospitality and robotics. It sounds super interesting. And Gavin, I want to come back to you because we chat with a lot of hoteliers, and they're like, the most frustrating thing is you just don't know if someone has stayed in your room or eaten in your restaurant or attended an event like this, or maybe used the co-work space. So talk to us a little bit about, again, like where you get started on that journey. Do you need to like get all your tech vendors in a room for a workshop, or do you just send them instructions, say we're doing this project? Like, how do you actually bring these partners on the journey? Because all of that data is in different places, right?
Yeah, definitely. So we took the approach. We decided that we wanted to create a profile. We had a very simple objective: use data more efficiently for both the guest and the business. That was the objective. Really simple, very difficult to do. But essentially, the way we approached it at Law Group, we looked at various different CDP applications, and I shortlisted down to 3. That had the ability to interface to our 3 biggest verticals, and those being PMS, data, F&B, and SMART. What we wanted to do was build that foundation. The rest is going to flow into projects that come next year and years to come. Once we have the data constructed in a meaningful way that's relevant, like I said before, the opportunities are endless. Where are we going to see ChatGPT go in years to come? What's going to happen with those large language models? Once you've got your data in the right place, constructed in the correct manner, training those artificial intelligence language models on that data becomes really simple. And I think that's another big thing that needs to be looked at when you're thinking about a 5-year plan or a 5-year strategy. What are the risks of training a third party's large language model on your guest data and so forth? There's a lot of effort that needs to go into that long-term strategy. But I would say from a starting point and where to begin with your relevant hotels, standardization. It's the only way that we can first keep costs down in terms of integrations. You don't want to be doing 20 different integrations for different types of systems. Doing one integration for 20 types of the same system is a lot more cost effective than trying to integrate 6, 7 different type of property management systems of different flavors. So I would suggest standardization. Have a look at what your objective is initially, whether that's to drive revenue, whether it's guest experience, or whether it's to design a digital guest journey. All of these are relevant, but it comes down to what your business objective is in the first place. source the application, and then have those difficult conversations with the relevant third parties and the vendors. They're going to tell you, be careful of salesmen. I know there's not a lot in this room because they had their hands up earlier. But be careful of them. They are very good at selling things. They will promise you the world, but do your homework, get a third party involved, get a third opinion, make sure that, systems that you're going in with, integrations that you're putting forward have been very well screened and are going to be able to offer you that business objective that you set out to accomplish in the first place.
And again, kind of, let's say a year ago, you were sitting in this audience and someone was up on stage and they were like, this single data lake, all these data sources, it's a single source of truth. What was that first step you took? Again, was that just you and the team doing some reading around it? Did you bring in a consultant? Like, how did you go from, a non-expert on this to now it sounds like, ready to launch?
So we started with standardization, exactly that. We had different point-of-sale systems in each one of our hotels. We even had different PMS systems. So it's been a long journey. As I said, the actual golden profile is we are so looking forward to receiving it. We get our first taste of it on the 9th of October, which is next week, Wednesday. We've been waiting nearly 12 months for this. But the process that's been going on in the background, we've changed point-of-sale systems. We've migrated all restaurants and all F&B outlets to 7 rooms. We've changed property management systems. We've done a lot of legwork in order to get to a point where we only now require 3 integrations up into a CDP application to generate this profile.
So is it fair to say, without making it sound really, really daunting, to get to a single customer profile, you may actually need completely different tech providers, and then you might need to do your structured data work, and then you're ready to go? Is that the challenge? We're all sitting here going, yeah, I'd be doing this tomorrow, but I'm just with the wrong partners.
Definitely, and I think that's an age-old issue within hospitality in general. For those of you that have ever walked into a hotel or taken over an existing hotel, rebranded a hotel, the pain points, you walk into a hotel and there's 1,000 different systems in a hotel that just don't communicate, don't work, and don't function properly. They're not fit for need. And you have to, it's a tough sell, especially to the staff that have been using it for so long. You have to rip all these systems out and essentially start from scratch. So yes.
Yeah, just yes. I thought the promise of Gen AI was we could stop this all this talk about structuring data. I thought actually Gen AI was much better, large language models much better at dealing with big sets of unstructured data. Is that just not really practical when you're dealing with individual guest profiles?
You got to be careful. So I've in a test lab, we have begun testing data or a large language model based on that golden profile that's coming down the line in parallel to the whole marketing project that's running on how we use that data. But some of the tests, I was actually staying at one of our properties in Washington, D.C., and talking to the large language model AI assistant at Sea Containers. And it was telling me about my reservation in Washington, D.C. So it had the reservation numbers crossed over, which is a unique thing. So when you look at that profile and how you train it and how you ring fence what it's allowed to talk about and what is not allowed to talk about is a difficult task. So yes, it's nice to train it on a huge data set, and all of that information becomes very relevant very quickly and very easily. You're able to answer questions with one sentence, but there are risks involved. So test lots.
And again, I'm sure people who are kind of relatively new to this, it comes up a lot, are thinking about security, ethics, privacy. Jawad, obviously you're dealing with a ton of data behind the scenes. How are you thinking about this in terms of what you can share back to guests, what different members of staff can see, and of course how you keep the whole thing safe?
Completely. I think security is one of my favorite subjects, really, to be honest, in the room, and not everyone's favorite subject. But I think we are, again, from the AI, we are using today AI with security in terms of obviously, we more and more talking about the cloud technology where our data is sitting with a partner, whether it's a PMS or whichever platform we're using. But also, I think there's a lot we need to look after and look at within our hotels, how the data is used, how the applications are used. So That's, I can confirm today, we do have a solution today which is constantly reading different algorithms and looking at the patterns of users logging from a location, and suddenly login appeared from the US, taking actions right away. Again, in those kind of actions, really what needs to be done. If a user is in the US, how can it be logged in from UK, etc. Similarly, there's a very funny, we were running a campaign recently, and to send a link to the users and look at how they behave. So a user clicked, enter the password, send the email to IT for your information. And we replied, thank you very much, here's your password, which you already entered. So imagine the amount of data is there, how the AI can really, really help to protect your network, protect your infrastructure, and looking at the behaviors constantly, what's happening with it, someone copying a file, someone accessing a data which is not supposed to be. The number, even looking at the number of records, how many records you're looking at. So I think these tools are becoming norm, and we need to be very careful spending money on those kind of tools to protect our business and against data. Most of the time, if you look at the last few instances, probably there are less issues in the data center, more an error from a user perspective. That's
perfect. And then, Josh, how do you think about this? Obviously, we'll have cleaning robots launching nukes within a couple of years' time. But how do you think about the world?
well, it's not going to be Terminator, so we should be all right. But I mean, ultimately, not just from our portfolio, within the world of robotics, there's people for deep sea adventures, deep sea diving. There's Boston Dynamics who are working on Spot the Dog that can go into security. I think for a lot of robotics within cleaning, wayfinding, navigation and room delivery, there's no GDPR, there's no customer information. So we're currently working on a scenario within healthcare, again, doing prescription medical deliveries, and we are sending a robot to a pharmacy. It's scanning a patient's code, it's scanning the information behind it. It doesn't know what the person's name is, how old they are. So there's no discrimination. There's nothing against it. There's no ethical boundaries. It's just, I'm here to do this one task. And I think that's where, when we're talking about robotics and how they're created, every robot is created for a single purpose, albeit, yes, okay, we can manipulate them for our environment, for the job at hand. But again, Currys within retail, we did a deployment into Currys where we installed, again, ChatGPT onto it to help navigate around the store based on user interaction. It didn't care whether you were 6'6", whether you were 4'4". It just talked to you. So it was a simple interaction. And it was there to do one job. It was there to greet you. It was there to make your life easier. So when you're looking at that as the front of house or a room service deliverer, you're doing one job with it. You know, you're not taking any data or any metrics from, you know, the gold profile, albeit within some of our robots you can do advertisement and have things looping around, and I'm sure at some point we'll be able to, once we do open the API, we'll be able to do that gold standard where it may do facial recognition if that profile is logged, and as the robot walks past you, it detects you, but that's going, you know, within the next 5 to 10 years. Whereas where we are at now is these robots are designed to do a task that supports not only your staff but your guests as well.
Yeah, perfect. So we've got time for a couple more questions up here. But are there any questions from the audience at all? Yeah, feel free to shout out.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
How do you make sure that Gavin at Gmail and Gavin at Gmail correctly combined?
Okay, so there's a term for this. It's quite a funny term. It's called fuzzy deduplication of profiles. Essentially how it works is you pick various different data types or data elements attached to a guest profile from the various different data sources that you're going to import into the said CDP application. And then you work metrics on those attributes of data, and you give it a confidence score. So one that we see working well we haven't tried it yet, is a phone number. So you get a text message back. So it's a confirmation that that phone number is actually, relevant to your profile. Email addresses is one, yes, but also names, right? Names can be spelled incorrectly. My name is Allison, A-L-I-S-O-N or A-double-L-I-S-O-N, etc. So it's a confidence score. Is it perfect? No. Is it good? Yes. And I think the more attributes you associate with that algorithm to give you confidence that that profile is relevant and the information in it is always going to get better and better and better. So that's how we do it, with a confidence score against the attributes of each profile.
I wonder if there's also a sense that actually you might legitimately have 2 or 3 emails, right? If I think about, I always think of like Eventbrite. I have a work Eventbrite and I have a personal Eventbrite, but I'm the same person. We have exactly the same in the credit card space. Like people just use different cards for different things in their lives. So we also need to perhaps adapt from this kind of singular view of our customers to actually they're quite interesting people with a whole range.
I mean, you might have a corporate guest staying with you. You could identify that with a corporate rate code, but on the other hand, they could return in a couple of months with their whole family. That guest journey and the offerings in terms of us upselling and offerings within your establishment would be completely different based on that guest's individual needs at that time.
Sounds like you've thought about this too, Jawad.
I think this can be a part of a process where you can find options in areas where you can more and more get the profile more cleansed and get the right data. For example, booking.com, you never get the exact email address for the guest. There are ways by sending a check-in request, you make those fields mandatory where you can get the real email addresses. And as Gavin said, it's a process, and the way in the past I have personally worked on those is called a dumping yard, where you have 10, 15, 16 system where your guest profile sits. You dump everything into one centralized dumping yard. That's the first phase. Second phase, where it apply some algorithms with the logic, robotics, AI to build relationship, finding the scorings. And the last stage you have refined data, which is your golden record, and you can use it for your BI, and you can do business events for business decisions that they can through utilizing their data as well from the source.
Yeah, I think profiles are such an interesting space.
It's massive.
Yeah, we've got a new product called Link, which basically, if you've ever shopped on any Stripe merchants before, it could be Airbnb or Uber or whoever, we can save your preferred way to pay, and you can land on one of your hotel sites for the very first time, and as soon as you start putting that email or phone number, it's like, oh, Gavin, it looks like it's you. These are your stored cards. You can do a one-click checkout. We've got 100 million accounts live around the world. It's just amazing the way these things scale.
100%. I think one of the biggest pinpoint, my last company where the point was a guest staying at London, and if they travel to Beverly Hills or France, we are able to use the same payment method again. Yeah. The card is tokenized, and that's their means and ways to bring the golden profile record, get the data accurate, and there are too many ways and means and ways to find and refine those processes to correct the data we have in the database.
So I want to pivot slightly with a few minutes we've got left. I want to talk a bit about training. So we often say in this industry it's hard to bring people in and then keep amazing talent and develop them. It feels like technology for many people is inherently interesting. There's tons to learn, and it will be really valuable whatever you go and do next in your life, whether that be more hospitality stuff, something else in travel, or a completely different industry. How do you think about getting knowledge about the technology tools and capabilities that your teams build into the rest of the business? Is there opportunity for mentorship, secondments, training? How do you think about making sure that everyone in the business can become, I suppose, more tech literate, confident, and trained? I guess, Josh, can you see what you think?
Yeah, so I mean that's a big one with us with robotics anyway, especially when you are looking at training staff on them. Although they are very self-sufficient equipment, when somebody does leave, it does pose a question, okay, who's now going to look after it? I think the biggest thing is, and it's the way that we operate as a company, and as Jawad said, we're very people-driven. It's about not the people that are sat here today. You might be the main driver of it, but it's not you guys that are going to be using the equipment or some of these platforms. It's going to be the boots on the ground. It's going to be the teams that are on the day-to-day, in front constantly. And so what we do is we get them involved, and it makes them feel valued. It gets them excited. It gets gets them worked up to go, do you know what, I do want to learn about this. You get to some scenarios where you just go and implement something, whether it be an operating system, an advertisement system, a robot, and you just sort of say, yeah, there you go, it's dumped, it's been delivered, deal with it. They are going to push back on it. Whereas if they've had involvement from day one, from the ground up, building that process, they're going to want to learn it because they're going to feel valued, and that their knowledge is also valued to the hotel, to the management team, and to the directors. So for us, it's all about including everyone. Although people will bring different things to the table, you know, it could be the most unsurprising thing that the person that you didn't expect it from actually brings the most vital bit of information, and you wouldn't get that if you didn't sit round the table.
Yeah, it kind of feels like looking after robots in a hotel is a bit like looking after the guinea pigs in our house. It's like someone's got to do it, and it'll probably end up being my problem at the end of the day. Gavin, you're obviously building a platform that kind of any department could use and unlock. So again, how do you think about getting marketeers, salespeople, you know, excited about the potential, get them playing with it, and really confident in helping you take the tech to the next level?
Through demos is how I got the marketing people on board. It was driven by certain KPIs that we linked to, you know, upselling revenues and the possibilities. I guess the biggest thing is dreaming big, treading with caution, and selling that dream onwards down to the different departments. How much more would a front desk agent enjoy their role if they had all of that information readily available to you when you were checking in, and they could have a relevant conversation with you or, you know, your family at that time of check-in? What a different experience than, can I have a credit card? Will you put in your PIN? Thank you, sign here, please. Here's your key. You know, it's just so boring, it's so mundane. Imagine a difference where, you know, you walked into a hotel and they knew your dog's name, they knew your kid's name, they knew everything that you liked and what you were about to do in the city because you had already utilized the in-house concierge service. And all of those profile attributes are associated with a quick screen on who you are, why you're with us, who you're staying with, and when you're going to be departing. You can use that information to create such a story. Yeah.
And Jawad, as you think about some of the tools you want to roll out, do you see there being appetite for your teammates in the hotels becoming more tech literate, becoming more tech confident, and potentially even help driving some of that innovation in the
Definitely.
future?
I think we have performed internally those sessions to understand, because I think as a company, we are, especially from our owner's perspective, we're paying a lot of attention. Systems are there to make your life easier, provide the guest efficiency, accuracy, and quickness as well. But it's sadly, in most of the companies, we drive our business processes based on the softwares. What we have done right now, we're looking at very closely evaluating systems we have, what solutions are there, how we can really apply some robotics, how we can apply some AI there to actually really make the team members' life easier rather than introducing a new system. They don't want to take it, they don't want to adopt it, how we can really take them through the journey and show them how it can make a huge difference in terms of your efficiency, really. That's the journey. I think we are heading towards the very right direction. We're going through a massive process between infrastructure and applications. We have on record 73 systems to look after. And you know how hard it can be for a technical or a department where they have to log into 10 different systems to manage. So.
Perfect. And of course, we're very nearly out of time. So just kind of in less than a sentence, if you can, you know, they often say we overestimate where tech will go in a year and underestimate where it will go in 10. Let's take 5 years, just to be controversial. Like, what's the one bit of tech that you really do think will change the hoteliers' jobs in the next 5 years? Gavin.
Level of customization and creating an experience.
Jawad?
I would say the scalability. Today, the systems we're building is around a center of attraction. The scalability, agileness, where we can unplug, plug, that's the future.
Relevant. Josh?
Just innovation and constantly wanting to evolve your hotel. Not one single product is ever going to do that. So you constantly, as a hotel group or a standalone, you need to be forward thinking and constantly thinking about where can we be at the forefront of technology.
Perfect. There you go. You heard it here first. So before I hand back, if you could please thank our panelists for sharing this insights. Brilliant. And I'll leave you in the safe hands of whoever says something next. We're going to take a coffee break.